All right, everyone, welcome back into another Fantasy Golf video. Going to be getting into the round 4 breakdown here of the PGA Championship. So hopefully you guys have a pretty good week going right now. It seems like it's going to be a good week for me, and hopefully you guys are able to take advantage of the good week that's already been had with Xander Schauffele taking the first round lead. Looking at this round 4 wise, definitely interesting in regards to like who we should be on. You can look at it in two ways. You can look at it in terms of win rank. So win rank, Xander is going to be number 1, then Colin, then Tagala, then Bryson, then Shane Lowry, then Hovland. Scotty Scheffler 8th in win rank. So take that for what it's worth. He is pretty far behind, but maybe he does shoot up the leaderboard, and maybe he finishes top 5 or something like that. Something like that could occur. So someone you might want to pay attention to with your showdown builds, and he's going to be lower owned than he probably should be. So something you could look at. What we are going to be looking at is just showdown rank in general. Scotty does rank out really well because, yes, he probably is going to shoot up the leaderboard. Typically speaking, I'm sure if we look at his round 4 scoring average, that's part of the reason as to why. That is why he's one of the best in the field round 4 scoring. So that does make sense as to why he'd be a good showdown pick for you guys, but also someone that could theoretically climb up the leaderboard. He would have to go extremely low. He'd have to get a little bit lucky. He would have to get a JT type round. And I just don't see the players that are on top of this leaderboard really choking. I know some people are going to make some played out Xander jokes, but I don't see Xander choking. I think honestly what happened today where he lost the lead and then regained it and now is tied with the lead, I think that's huge for Xander. I don't see him choking. It's never really felt like he wasn't going to win. That's double negative, but you guys get what I'm saying. It's always felt like he was going to win this tournament, especially after round 1, especially after you saw his first few shots. He's felt like the guy that's going to win. And so I'm kind of sticking to that. I'm sticking to my guns with that. And so he probably will be my most high exposed player in round 4. Other players you could go with, Rory is kind of telling us not to play Rory, which we'll see if that works out. Finau you can play. He's a scorer. Bryson I do like. Justin Thomas, I don't expect this to continue from him. So definitely some interesting stuff here. Let's try to give you guys a first look build, and then we'll get into some props and some betting stuff as well. So full disclosure here, I hate round 4 showdown. There's a lot of, it's more luck based than any other round where you're just trying to get lucky with someone shooting up the leaderboard. Example, like Scotty. Again, I don't know if we need to do that. He is that high priced. We'll see. I'm going to do a lineup builder video here for you guys as well to see if that ends up working out. But yeah, Xander, he's kind of the plug and play. Colin Morikawa is still cheap for that matter as well. But kind of who would I be looking at in terms of players I feel like we should be getting on? Tony Finau at that cheap price. Again, he's someone that can score. I do like targeting him. Harris English, he's in the top 10. Should be able to shoot up the leaderboards. I'm kind of fine with him. Shane Lowry has been, if you want to talk about someone choking, Shane Lowry's been someone that's choked a bunch. Didn't choke when he won that team event. And if you look at that team event, it vaulted Rory into a victory. Last week in the Wells Fargo Championship against Xander, if you will. Maybe that's all Shane Lowry needed to do was see a win, and maybe he can clutch up this weekend. Potentially have a win. I don't see that happening just because it's very difficult to follow up the round that he had. Obviously Xander kind of has proven that. It's just difficult to follow up those awesome rounds. Thomas Dietrich, Dean, those are two players I think people will be on. I don't know. I don't want to get to them. I'd rather get to Taylor Moore, who's been someone that I could trust. And I will say Austin Eckroat, it's super tilting. Like I mentioned last week, he was a player, like him and Taylor Moore were two players I was kind of going out of my way to roster to be able to pair Rory and Xander together. Tilting that he's having this week that he is. And that, again, is kind of what I dislike about no-cut events is that sometimes players just kind of mentally check out. And it seems like that's what happened with him last week. And the reason I hate that is because it's more difficult to gauge them as they play the following week. And then kind of, how I mentioned like stuff with Shane Lowry, I don't expect Justin Rose to have a good round just simply because it is very difficult to follow up those good rounds with another good round. And so it does definitely get tight. I might just go Eckroat and maybe Taylor Moore if I can make that work. It's a little bit unique. We are chasing probably a little bit too many top 10s, current top 10s, where we probably need someone to go, very low. And I guess maybe Hoagie or we'll go Dietrich, top 10 still. I don't like this. I'm actually curious. I'm probably going to default more to what the data says. So let's go ahead and get into that. All right. So just looking at what the lineup optimizer is going to be spitting out to us. Who are the best values? It does really like Shane Lowry. I'm going to limit my exposure to like 25% with him. And then Aaron Rai, 20. I don't feel the need to get much with him. Brandon, Do you guys think he's going to Michael Block his way into another good round? Maybe. Don't want to go crazy with him. 15%. Jordan, I don't really feel the need to get to a lot of. So like 15 for Jordan, maybe 25 for Rose. Keegan, maybe 20. And then we're pretty much good. So again, what I like to do, and you guys don't have to do this, this is up to you guys. 3 unique players, about 35% max exposure. And that's kind of the tough part about round 4 showdown is you probably need to be on the winners a little bit more. And so again, if I'm really going in on Xander, I probably just want to lock him into like 40, 45. And maybe you create a rule for round 4 where it's saying maybe you think it's Colin Morikawa that goes off, but maybe you think they both don't go off, if that makes sense. Like it's going to be one or the other. Maybe one chokes, one doesn't. You could set a rule where you only want one of Xander or Colin Morikawa in a build. But anyways, let's generate this. And so we are getting a lot of spread out ownership. And at 35%, it still wants a lot to Gallo. Russell Henley's popping up in there a little bit more than I would thought. Still getting 40% Colin Morikawa. Still getting a lot of Xander, so we like that. Interestingly enough, no Scotty. So if you do want to get exposure to Scotty, which again, wouldn't be surprising to see him climb up the leaderboard, it goes hand in hand. If he's scoring birdies, he's obviously going to help you with those, and then also the position points. Like that's the kind of variance that occurs in round 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and pivot now into some props. We are only getting prop bets for pick 6 and underdog right now. We're not getting any prize picks props, which is fine. For underdog, I was a little bit tilted by the decision to have preferred lines. I thought this course was going to play a little bit more difficult than it did the first 2 days, specifically with like Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas. Their birdies were like 5 and 5.5. We are still seeing 5, so these players need to get to 6 there. It honestly could come down to that preferred lies versus not preferred lies, where you just get the best lie possible as opposed to maybe just a decent one. That could matter. I do still expect this tournament to play a little bit more difficult tomorrow. Have a more difficult Sunday setup, maybe a little bit more risk reward setup. Haven't seen the tee locations for that just yet, and we don't know if preferred lies is going to be in play. So I really don't see that big of edges. If you guys are thinking kind of 6 birdies is going to be difficult to get to, then yeah, you could fire up all these like Bruce Koepka, Bryson, Hovland, Colin, JT for under birdies or better. And then I kind of think Xander's putting the hammer down tomorrow, so I'm not touching any prop bets with him tomorrow. But yeah, Colin Morikawa, tough to imagine him getting 6 birdies tomorrow. I feel like he's going to be a safe player. JT, probably going to be safe. And honestly, now that I'm thinking it through, bogeys or worse might be the way to go with it. Like for some of the chasers, like JT is probably going to go after it. Bryson probably going to go after it a little bit. That might be the best way to go about attacking props bets. But yeah, it is tough to imagine those guys getting 6 birdies tomorrow. All right, so then jumping into some matchup bets that you could potentially get on. I typically like the 3-ball bets a little bit better just because you're getting better odds on a lot of kind of spots that stand out. And I'm not saying that's not the case. Rory versus Tom Kim. Yes, we expect Rory to win. Benny Ann, we expect him to win that. Scotty, you expect him to beat Mark Hubbard. Cameron Smith, you expect him to beat Pinnacle Holes. Like, I'm fine with these. These are all solid, but none of them are like double ups. It's all 1.3, 1.5. It's just nothing too crazy, but still solid. If you guys want to roll with any of these, by all means, go for it. My kind of general rule with these head-to-heads, 15 up, where like with the 3-ball, it's 40% and up. So really, we got 4 good ones that we could roll with, and they're not bad. 1.7, 1.4, 1.3, and 1.6 to 1. Those are good odds that anyone would take. And then just to give you guys kind of the odds outlook of maybe like some potential spots that you can get on. I mean, if you already have Xander, you could potentially hedge to Colin Morikawa. I don't like that idea, though. I don't think that's smart. Is there a path where Bryson continues to get these kind of, I don't want to say lucky chip-in eagles and whatnot that he's had at the Masters and at this PGA Championship and whatnot? I don't see that happening, but he has kind of been lucky. You kind of expect that to regress a little bit. Really, the best bet I see here, even though the data doesn't like it, would be Shane Lowry. Data kind of expects him to drop off. Yeah, it's very tight. I don't know. I'm sticking with Xander. I don't feel the need to get a live outright bet, but I wanted to pull this up in case there's any bets that you guys out there that you want to jump on. And then just real quickly jumping back into the props, I want to call it something here with the pick 6 stuff. So we have one golfer on underdog right now listed at 67.5. We go to something like pick 6. They have 4 golfers listed at 67.5. We continue on. A few at 68.5, but underdog is saying that it is going to play a little bit more difficult on Sunday. Whereas pick 6, their initial lines are not really suggesting that. Actually, they have a bunch of people at 68.5. Looking at this, I expect Cam Young to be under par. I expect Cam Smith to be under par. But pick 6 is really grouping a lot of golfers together there. But that is going to do it for this video. Quick, easy video there for you guys. Wish we were getting prize picks props so we could give some better takes on that. But good luck in your round 4 showdown. If you guys want access to any of the tools, head on over to 9to5sports.com. Available for $10 a month. Thanks for watching. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.